Of course, I haven't watched this game at all, so we'll see where this leads us. First thing, by the looks of it, you play. The first immediate thing I noticed, it looks like you played with zoomed in view. The reason I can tell that is when you start a replay, it starts with view lock, and I can see that your camera setting is much closer than mine is. So I would highly recommend that if that's true, if you do play with this view, if you do play this close, I would definitely recommend you'll see more of the map by just backing up. First thing, like just kind of side note worth mentioning. Alright, so let's take a look at the matchup. It's Dutch for Gibson. He's going to be playing over here. His tag is this Lukas2223. And he's playing against Britishmusketeer. He's playing the French civilization over here on the right side of the map. The map is Baja California. I think this map is pretty good for Dutch. It's a fairly low hunt map in terms of how Garge's maps tend to spawn, and so I think this is a little bit better for Dutch. The TP line pretty spread out. I guess that's okay for French, but has a little bit of water, not too impactful for either side. Pretty long rush distance, which I guess is okay for Dutch as well. So this is also a matchup that I'll preface by saying, in general, tends to play out in H3 for the most part. And as Dutch, your goal is going to be to get to H3, hopefully not too far behind French, with a decent economy, ideally like 4 banks and not having taken any villagers lost. Of course, if he plays really aggressive, you're the more reactionary civ with Dutch, and so you'll have to adapt accordingly. But we'll see what ends up happening. Decent villager split. Nothing wrong there. I don't know that I would. I don't think, like, this treasure, like I mentioned this yesterday in the replay I watched, I don't think I would ever start by picking up that treasure. Like in this map you want to like get out over here and like try and find something a little bit more impactful. Like find yourself a wood treasure or something like that. Like, yeah, 80 wood over here. This is going to be far better for you than this little XP treasure. House coming down. Looks like you're going to do like a 14-ish pop age up. You're going to do 14 or 15. You've got up to 14 in queue. Looks like you're going to do 15. That's fine. Oh, you missed that. That's a little bit of a miss. You also got really low. I didn't see what happened there. What did you take? You got pretty low. Try and keep your, like, there's not too many excuses to get your scout this low. I'd have to go back and watch, but it was either a miss micro treasure or just something went poorly. 15 pop age up, good. Normal. Decent hunt control. A little bit of extra pathing there around that house. If you can plan for that and keep that from happening, that would be good, but little tiny minor things. For the most part, I think most people like PR20 have a pretty good idea of what they need to do in the first stage, so I won't dwell on that. Obviously, you can like watch high-level replays to pick up some ways to improve your efficiency early in the game, but I'm not going to comment on those things because usually it's at the below PR30 mark, there's something much more impactful that loses you the game. Speed it up. Chopping wood for a bank, good, decent split. And you're going to arrive at wood slightly earlier than food. Try and even that out so that they complete to as close to at the same time as possible. perhaps intentionally gathering over 50 wood here because you're going to do an economic build. If that's the case, that's perfectly fine. Don't be too stressed out about the fact that you don't have a villager in queue. That happens all of the time to Dutch players. I don't know that I like building a bank with 4 villagers. I think 2 is adequate. When I do play Dutch, which isn't very often, I usually do it with just 1, but I think 4 is too many. These are just tiny minor things, by the way, so far. Nothing like game-breakingly wrong. He's gotten a middle TP. He's aged up now. 700 wood has come. You still have this villager, 2 villagers on wood, or the 1 villager chopping wood. I think he's a mistake. With Dutch, it's pretty important to like count your resources. You're not leaving yourself very much room here to gather around this coin mine. I do like the fact that you're walling it in, but you're not leaving yourself much surface area to actually mine on this coin mine. I think this bank is a little out of position. I think if you would have had your buildings like in kind of a curve like this and left this back side a little bit more open to mining, it would have been better. I think this positioning feels a little awkward. You're going to still realistically be able to fit like a full line of villagers on this side of the mine, but the rest of the mine, especially when the pressure comes, like if Hussar were to come right now, these vills would be hung out to dry. He could jam 5 cav up here and these vills would be lost on either side. Those vills would be lost if he came and flanked you with cav at this point. Still chopping wood with this villager, this is a mistake. Like, always count up your wood, make sure that you have exactly what you need and no more, no less. With Dutch, it's very important to have a fairly calculated wood count. Unless this is a very long planned out build to have like exactly 300 wood or something like that, and you're gonna like drop a stable in 2 houses or something crazy, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think you just randomly are queuing a couple guys to wood, which is quite wasteful at this point. Herding could be slightly better. Some of these hunts are going to be very difficult now that this wall is taking place to get inside your base, which could be problematic when he comes with cav. It looks like he's got 5 Hussar on the map. You're doing just a blind straight eco FF by the looks of it, 5 banks. I think this is pretty ambitious. The fact that you're sending Bank of Rotterdam as well feels very, very ambitious. Like this, no doubt about it, this is like a full-on eco build, right? But this feels very ambitious, and we'll see how much damage these Hussar do. This Vill is dead, nothing you can do. This Vill and maybe even these 2 Vills are likely dead as well, if he controls his cav correctly. Certainly one of these villagers is dead. Like, they're just jammed out. That guy is completely jammed out. Nowhere to run. 2 vills down. I think this feels too greedy, so let's pause right here because this is a kind of important time. You've got 5 banks up, which naturally is very strong for your economy. You're shipping Bank of Rotterdam, which increases bank production by 20% in the E-patch. And as a result, you're going to have a really good coin income. But if you take a look at what the rest of your base is doing, there's some very concerning things. You don't have a ton of food. In fact, if we take a look at the remaining food, a bunch of these deer are dead, half-eaten, kind of spread to the winds. These guys are realistically probably never going to get inside your base. And he has 5 cav out and you don't have a military structure. That's the first thing that's very concerning to me, is whether or not you're even going to have enough easily gatherable food to get aged up without taking significant damage. That's the first thing that's concerning. The second thing that's concerning is you have no military structure and you're doing a pretty slow build. If he were doing something that you knew was really slow as well, this would be okay. Like, say he was Japan or something and you just were going to go full eco FF, or maybe he was India or China, something where you're sure he's going to go basically no unit straight FF, this would be okay. But this feels very exposed to me, and yes, you're going to have a really good coin economy, but I do fear that you're going to get raided here and spend a lot of time in your town center due to the fact that these guys are raiding you quite heavily. Alright, all your vills are penned up. Trying to get out. Probably not going to realistically. These 4 cows are just going to kind of run you around. I think you should eat these 2 sheep in age at this point to salvage this. Even this cow. It looks like you're going to be chopping more wood, which makes me concerned that you're going to be doing a 6th bank, which I think is even more economic. There you bought 100 wood, which I don't like too much at all. Just because, look at your food count. This is so taxing on your food income right now. Sure, you're going to get a 6th bank up. Your coin economy is going to continue to be absolutely unreal, but I'm still not convinced you're going to be able to gather enough food to get aged up and send some sort of Reuters shipment. Because you're building this bank, you still don't have a stable up. I mean, let's think about the things you need to do to stabilize here. You need to gather about another 1,000 food to be able to get aged up, you need to be able to build a stable and train some Reuters, and probably get to age 3 and send a shipment as well. You're a very long ways from accomplishing any of that, and I would venture to bet he's probably aging behind this. Or if he's not, he's probably going to be very close to aging. Yeah, he's sitting on about the resources he needs. In fact, maybe he's just going to be playing, in age 2 here. Looking at the setup he's got going. Let's see if he's sent 700 coin yet. He hasn't. I think you're lucky here, to be honest, that he sent 600 wood. Had he sent 700 coin and was aging here, you would feel really, really dead to me, like super dead, because you would be so far off aging. He'd be aging up, and pretty soon you'd have 2 Felks and a bunch of goons and stuff like sitting under your TC, and you'd still be trying to gather food to age. Fortunately, he's not aging. Maybe there's a chance for you to salvage it here, but I still feel like you're a long ways off stabilizing. Okay, what's Bank of Amsterdam? I mean, your economy's really good. You're aged up. Okay. I don't know. This is feeling strange. I feel like your opponent's just making more mistakes than you are at this point. Like, he could be aging and stuff. Fortunately for you, he's going to be playing age 2, which is a bit of a mistake. You're aged up. Your economy's insane. I actually don't see how you lose from this position. I actually don't really know how this game gets going this long. Like, he's just missed his timing. He's gotten 3 TPs up. He's got Stagecoach, but he should be aging behind this, and he's not. Perhaps he still applies some pressure here with this army that he's got up front in your base. Stradiot's being trained, questionable in itself. This would be much scarier if this was like accompanied with 2 Fellows or something like that. You still don't have a lot of food in your base, which is concerning. Swiss pikes. You should really need to be sending 1,000 wood here at some point. Once again, like, I just have to wonder what your opponent is doing, because it seems like he's not doing too much. Alright, he is aging. He's aging fast. That's good. I guess you're FIing. This is so risky. Like, this is just dumb at this point. I'm just gonna like back up and like straight out say it. Like, the fact that you got away with this build is pretty ridiculous to begin with. Now you're going to age 4, which is, I mean, going to be even more questionable. You're going to mass Stradiots by the looks of it. I mean, your coin eco's insane, right? We know that. Here finally come the 2 Felks. These are late, but does he have any anti-cav to back it up? He has some. I mean, he's got a somewhat scary army. It's just a wasted 300 coin. You still have 6 banks behind this. This is a long game, isn't it? We're going to start going through this a little bit quicker. So I'm going to pause it at this point. Alright, so at this point, your build has already lost in my mind. So I'm going to go over to Britishmusketeer's side of the map a little bit. I think he made a couple of mistakes. One, I'm assuming his card order was something like 3 CDB, 4 CDB, 700 wood, 600 wood, 700 coin. Had he sent 700 coin, skipped 700 wood, not built the 2 barracks, just done a 5 cav semi-FF, the most standard French build in the world, started building dragoons and sent 2 falconets, you would have likely not gotten aged up, and the 2 falconets would be like shooting at your TC when you were like halfway aged. At this point, you're ahead because of just like a mistake in his build order. And, well, you're not even ahead, like you're even because of a mistake in his build order. You've got this very strange composition of Swiss pikes and stratiots, which I guess is okay because you have tons of gold from the 6 banks, but this is going to be really hard to analyze from this point forward because you've done a weird build, and I'm not even convinced like you're losing at this point, especially now you're in age 4 with 2 heavy cannons. Unpack the heavy cannons, use them. Okay, good. Focusing the cannons. Make sure you don't shoot at the Huss. That's the most important thing. You've got the stat houders as well. Spend your resources. You got lots of resources here. Haven't been training builds. Like, your stuff's not all even fighting. You've got like 6 stat houders just back here not fighting. You could be fighting this fight much more efficiently. Also, not too much of a reason to be this far out. Once your falconets are down, or once his falconets are down, make him come into you. Here come the War Gelders. He's got a lot of skirms. That many stratiots is going to be pretty good against them. A factory. Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, you're winning. Like, you don't even lose this game, do you? And I don't think you should lose this game from here. I mean, you're in age 7. You're in age 4 with 4 banks and a factory soon. You can send Tulip Speculation anytime you want. Which is going to make your banks even more insane. That's good by him catching these stratiots. Stratiots are... I don't know that I would rate the stratiots, to be honest with you. Feels a bit strange. You still... Like, you need to get something up here, some production up here to actually spend some of these resources that you don't have. Not training villagers for a lot of the game. This is arguably a waste of coin on mass cavalry at this point. I don't even know what we can. I don't know that we can gain much more from this game. I'm just gonna, because this game is so long still. I'm gonna start fast forwarding through some of it. Let's look at what he's got. He's got 3 TPs, bunch of TCs coming up. He's got a good dragoon count. I can actually see how you can lose from here still, despite the. I mean, you don't have any map control, right? Maybe at this point you should be considering whether or not you want to go water. You should certainly have 2 Raxes down and be massing skirms as well, and not continuing to dump resources into stratiots, especially when he's got this many goons. Gonna cut through them really easy. This is just a poor engagement. Like, you've got your supporting units like way far behind these units. It's just a bad fight, honestly. I mean, it just shows like how much stronger his composition is. And and now I can most definitely see how you lose from here. I mean, he's 3 TC French with 53 CDB and a full Stagecoach TP line. And you just haven't even built a barracks or a stable yet. You do have a factory. Riding horses not useful at this point. Do you even have 9 rider? You do have 9 rider and 8 skirm in this deck. Down to 19 fill population. I mean, yeah, this game's effectively over. He could be doing a better job of defending these raids with his dragoons. The fact that he's not is probably what's making this game go a little bit longer. I'm going to fast forward through this because in my mind this game has already been won or lost like multiple times. And now I mean he's got H4 skirms and 8 guard dragoons as well. Tulip speculation, good card, but you've already got 5k coin unspent. I mean, you've got like triple queued mercenaries, right? You need to find some way to spend your resources that's not these mercenaries. Even if it's like a revolt or something. Queuing up multiple batches of mercenaries is about the worst way you can effectively spend resources, because they train so slowly. The one last hurrah push. Dragoon, good unit. How many villas is he at? 40. He's actually taken significant losses. Neither of you are spending your resources overly well. If either of you had spent your resources better this game, you probably either one could have still won at this point. Oh, there's the revolt we were waiting for. I mean, he's 600 score French, so you're probably not going to win at this point. Legendary 2 POP. Not good enough to beat guard dragoons with 2 cards though. Yeah, there's the game. That's where you resign, or you effectively lost. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the part of this game. I'm not sure if this was a troll replay, or if this was like a serious attempt by you. I'm going to guess not. If it was, I would first of all say like rewind all the way back to square one and just like forget everything you know about Dutch and start like playing a more standard style of Dutch. Standard play Dutch is standard play for a reason, because it's really, really good. So let's talk about some of the good things that did happen. Some of the good things that did happen is you did have a decent build order to get your first 4 banks up, but after that point, things kind of just fell apart. You committed way too much to building banks. Had he put any reliable pressure on your coin mine or your food at any point, you probably would have just gotten starved out. Truthfully, your ability to win this game was probably more dictated by him making misplays and misreads than your actually ability to like execute your strategy. Despite the fact that I guess you still eventually ended up losing. So. But I would say just like stick to 4 bank FF, semi FF, make normal units. You didn't make like a stable or barracks the entirety of this game. You only made mercenaries and stuff, so it's really hard to like give you any constructive criticism. Like when the most constructive criticism that I can give for this game would be 4 bank FF and make stable and barracks units, and then submit another replay where you're doing that, and then and then we can go from there, because at this point you've basically lost on build order, and I don't think that's going to come to too much of a surprise to you when you hear that. So submit another replay if you want, where there's a little bit more standard of the play, but I mean, it's a cool strategy. It's fun to have fun, but truthfully, this just isn't really ever going to accomplish much, other than maybe getting like a cheesy win with an FI or something. The FI itself wasn't too bad, but the follow-up from there, just make normal units. You'd probably be better off. So, all right, that's all I'm going to say about that game. We're getting pretty close to the time when Goodspeed and Mongol are going to play, so I'm going to pop back on out, get my UI on, get it reinstalled.